Well, the day of reckoning has arrived. It's official. The Chicago Bears have been eliminated from the 2021 NFL playoffs. Bears lose 17-9 against the Minnesota Vikings. And with this loss, the Bears have now officially mathematically been eliminated from the 2021 postseason. We all knew it was over a while ago, but it is now official. And while there could be enough talk with, if this goes right and we get this going our way, it doesn't matter anymore because, at the end of the day, you control your own destiny for a certain amount of time. And when you're starting to ask for several Christmas miracles, you're not going to get it. And now it's official. The Bears have controlled their own destiny towards an elimination. And while seeing how this offense played tonight, they deserve to lose. They deserve to be eliminated. They deserve to have their fingers pointed at them. I mean, that one Bears fan in the background, you can hear this shot of Matt Nagy, and you get some fan in the background saying, "After further review, we suck," which is a perfect representation of this season. A lot of reviews. It took a while, but after further review, well, we suck. We're 4-10, out of a playoff spot, and the season is just a waste. And we've been calling for Matt Nagy's head all season long. The Bears have never fired a head coach mid-season, and frankly, after we beat Detroit, I did not see Matt Nagy being fired in mid-season, mainly because if we beat Detroit, we then would have lost to Arizona and Green Bay, and by that point, there's only 4 games left in the year. Why not just let him finish coaching the year? I'm pretty sure that's what ownership's thinking, and I don't see him getting fired before the end of the season, as much as Bears fans don't like it, but he will be fired in the offseason, and that's what we can look forward to. Just terrible offensive play. Every time we seem to get a chance, we just stalled and something went wrong. Justin Fields looked awful tonight. The team had 3 points until the final second of the game. They were gifted one final play with 1 second, and they ended up scoring a touchdown, which had to be reviewed, by the way, keeping a lot of people there. They ended up scoring that touchdown. They didn't kick the extra point. And you score 9 points on primetime television, you're not going to win any game scoring 9 points unless you're the New Orleans Saints shutting out Tom Brady on the road, winning 9-0. And look at the Vikings didn't have to do much. They were basically gifted this victory. Kirk Cousins just had to make a couple good throws. Dalvin Cook carried this team. Justin Jefferson and Amir Smith-Marset made these 2 touchdown receptions for Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins did not pass for 100 yards in this game. The Bears defense held Kirk Cousins under 100-yard passing, and they held the Vikings to just 17 points. Dalvin Cook did not rush for 100 yards. The Vikings offense did not look outstanding either. This was not a good game, period. But they scored 17 points. They scored 2 touchdowns, and that's what matters. They were able to outscore us. Their defense stepped up. And there's plenty of things to look at because you know what? The Bears defense got 4 sacks. Akeem Hicks and Robert Quinn both got 2 sacks. Deion Bush had that pick that was just lobbed right to him by Kirk Cousins. I don't know where the heck that pass was going, but Deion Bush gets basically a free interception on that one. And the Bears kicked the field goal, I believe, on the ensuing drive right before the half, and that was their only points until the last second of the game. No joke. Justin Fields threw for over 250 yards and a touchdown at the end of the game. But you know what the problem here is? Even though Justin Fields didn't throw any picks, 4 fumbles throughout the team. 2 of them by Justin Fields, 1 by Damiere Byrd, and I think 1 by Darnell Mooney. 3 of those fumbles we lost. Justin Fields was able to recover one of his fumbles, but still he fumbled the ball twice. And our receivers also fumbled the ball. That's 3 turnovers right there. And that's going to give that just gives the Vikings more chances, and that takes away chances for you. And that's how you lose football games. You turn the ball over. Like it's simple. I don't get it, man. On paper, if you look, you've heard me talk about what happened in this game. On paper, the Bears should have won this game. Justin Fields is over 250 passing yards and 1 touchdown, no picks. Montgomery has 60 rushing yards, and we had some running help from other members of the offense. The team had 300 yards of offense, and the Vikings were held to under 100 yards passing. They got an interception. They had 4 sacks on the quarterback. They had over 100 yards rushing, did not have a 100-yard rusher. They held Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league, under 100 yards. And they lost and looked horrendous. When you say that doesn't come to mind, but it happened. And because the Bears just would not score, they just refused to score. I don't know what it was, but they just refused to score. Every time they had a chance to do anything, they couldn't score. Also, let me correct something here. David Montgomery was the one that caused the fumble. It wasn't Darnell Mooney. My memory got jogged, and so I got that wrong. And also, after the Bush interception, the Bears missed a field goal. So they scored a field goal on the previous drive, got a pick, chance to get another field goal, but they didn't even score that. They missed it, and then that was pretty much the end of the half. And look, they had several drives that were promising that were ended by turnovers. Fields had a fumble, bad fumble. The very next drive, David Montgomery fumbles inside the red zone. And then they have several drives in the second half that the Bears just turn the ball over on downs inside the red zone. So many drives looking promising, getting into the red zone, only for us to come up empty several times. This wasn't like a couple. This wasn't like once or twice. This was like 4 times. And they were all turnovers. 2 of them being actual turnovers. I think 2 of them being fumbles. And 2 of them being downs. Excuse me. That was the 1 fumble. And then 3. All 3 drives, which the Bears turned the ball over on downs in the second half, were all inside the Minnesota 25. The first drive was about at the 21. It was right on the edge of the red zone. But still, you're deep in enemy territory. And with how your defense has been playing, they've been keeping you in this game like several other games in the past. And you get nothing. Nothing, because you risked it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times and failed all 3 times. That's the story of the Bears season. They get close, but when it matters most, they cannot convert, and the game gets away from them. This happened several times this season, where they are playing a close game, and the game gets away from them, or they play a close game, and they continue to play close, only to choke it at the end. Look, Matt, like 4 years ago, you were, able to go for it on 4th down and like push the ball, and you were actually able to convert some of those plays. This is 2021. The offense is atrocious. It had been atrocious the entire game. You only have 3 points. How are you even assuming that you can convert a 4th down to try and get a touchdown? Just take the damn points. That's a new revelation in the NFL. Going for it on 4th down more often. I'm seeing so many coaches go for it on 4th down on their first drive of the game in the first 5 minutes. if they feel like they can get a first down, which to me is insane because that didn't happen before. And you weren't having that ever happen. You'd only go for fourth down at the end of the game if you were down. But now they're going for it willy-nilly, like they just want to push the ball. And that's this whole offensive revolution in the NFL. But not every team can do that. Several teams have been able to do that with certain success and continued success. The Bears are not one of those teams. We have, I think, we're getting close. I think we have over 20 fourth down attempts. And I don't know if we even have 10 conversions this season. We're going for it, and we're not converting, and especially in positions where we can steal points and kick a field goal. I don't get it. Just take the points. I get you're trying to be aggressive, and this whole revolution's kind of taken over, but those are for the teams that can actually convert fourth downs. This team is not good at converting fourth downs, and they proved it 3 times in this game. I mean, come on, just take the damn points. I wish coaches would just understand their skill level, and if they don't realize, it's still it's like the third quarter, we're only down by 14 points or whatnot. I don't know if that was how it worked. Just take the points. You kick field goals on all of those drives. That's 9 points right there. And that actually makes the final drive of the game interesting, and you have a chance to win the game. I especially, and I say this as well, especially for an offense like the Bears, where scoring any points regardless is very difficult sometimes. You'll have games where they may have a couple good drives in a row, but then there are games like this where, despite them trying everything and actually getting some good yardage, they can't score to save their lives, especially put it in the end zone. So you're going to have to take every point you can get, especially when your defense is keeping you in the game and only letting up 17 points. Letting up 17 points would give you a win so many times in the NFL these days. Only letting up 17 points would win you probably 90% of games in the NFL. But with the Bears offense, that's not a guarantee. And they've lost plenty of games where they've just been these low-scoring, ugly games where they can't crack 20 points. They've won a cup. They've won especially that game against Detroit. But this is not the only game. And now they've lost because the offense prolapsed on the football field, and they couldn't even do anything. They couldn't put it in the end zone until the final play of the game. They had 3 points up until that point. It was a garbage, meaningless touchdown to score. Good job, Matt. You tried so hard. You failed 3 fourth down conversions trying to get a touchdown. You got it on the final play of the game. There's your touchdown. Hopefully that makes you happy and think that everything's fine, because it's not. And that's one thing that I'm looking forward to in the offseason is what do we do with this coaching position, this coaching vacancy, because we all know Matt Nagy is going to be fired. I do wish him well in another coordinator position, because who knows, maybe he's just one of those coaches that actually does very well as a coordinator but sucks as a head coach. That is a recurring trend that happens so many times in this league. There are plenty of examples. Matt Patricia, perfect one. Great, legendary defensive coordinator. Not a good head coach. But some coordinators have become fantastic head coaches. And so it's basically a crapshoot sometimes with these coordinators. And Matt Nagy was just a dud. He won Coach of the Year in 2018, leading us to the playoffs. I don't want to talk about the wild card game right now. But, I mean, he's not played well. He's not been a good coach since then. 2 8-8 seasons. Somehow he made the playoffs with the extended playoff bracket last season. I don't really look at that season as a playoff season. We didn't deserve to go to the playoffs. And so now he finally gets the losing season that he really should have had last season or the year prior. But now he's going to be fired. And it's going to be weird because you know what? He's had 4 seasons. This is going to be 4 seasons. Only one losing season. He's going to be fired after the losing season. That's better than Trestman and Fox. That's better than Trestman and Fox. Trestman and Fox were terrible. John Fox did not have a winning season. I think we lost 10 games every season with John Fox. No, we did lose 10 games every season with John Fox, including that abysmal 3-13 season in 2016. So, I mean, when does it end? I'm not judging Justin Fields' selection just yet. It's still too early to decide whether or not he's a bust. He's had a long season, hasn't gotten much help from the offense. That's what I'm going to tell you. But, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're 4-10, and Justin Fields has won as many starts as Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is 2-2 as a starter with Chicago. Yes, that means he did win that start against the Bengals, even though he did not play the entire time. He started that game. That goes as a win for him. I mean, what else do you want me to say? Justin Fields has won 2 games, and he has played many more than Dalton. Dalton's 2-2. The team is just not good. The team is just not good. And I mean, in the offseason, we're going to have to work on not only offensive line and secondary. Those are probably our 2 biggest issues. But we also have to bolster the receiving corps because at this point, I've accepted that Allen Robinson's not going to sign again. And we're going to have to trade him or he's going to test free agency. There's no way that he's going to sign again unless he sticks around to find out who the new coach is and decides to sign again because he feels like the new coach would do good. I don't. That's the only way I think Robinson would re-sign. Look, this game eliminates us, but I mean, you have to remember we started 3-2. We started 3-2 with wins against the Bengals and the Raiders, which we beat the Raiders on the road too. And well, both of those teams are in playoff contention. I mean, well, yeah, everyone in the AFC is still contending for a playoff spot, but those are 2 teams that were solid opponents now looking down the line, and we have not been able to get anything. I mean, you look since then, we had close bouts with the Steelers and the Ravens. If we have those 2 wins, who knows where we're at? That means we're 6-8, and we're still fighting for a playoff spot. Those 2 games now, you look at them, and those are the games that are the most gut-wrenching because you know if we win those games, we had those games. And if we were able to win those games, 6-8 is the record right now, and we still have a shot with the Seahawks and the Giants coming up next, too. So 2 actual winnable games. And well, those 2 losses now take us out of the playoffs. And it's really unfortunate. It really does hurt. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. So congrats, Kirk Cousins. You got your second Monday night victory. It's safe to say that the curse is going to be broken against Chicago if we go to if this game happens yet again on Monday night, because it seems like this is a tradition as well, going to Lambeau on primetime and hosting the Vikings on primetime. It looks like this is a tradition that will never end, which means more embarrassment for us. I still don't understand how the NFL is able to put us on for 4 primetime games a year, 3-4 a game, and expect us to produce good games, especially late in the year. I really don't understand. I mean, obviously it's because of the whole history, but I mean, at this point, it's like, look, we're terrible. Why would you want to put us on primetime football? This season has shown you that we're probably going to get maybe 1 or 2 primetime games. And if it's any of them, it's going to be these 2 games, Green Bay and Lambeau, and at home against Minnesota, if we're going to get any primetime games, period. Either that or we go to Thanksgiving again. So it's the season's over. These next couple of games are kind of meaningless. Seattle on the road, home for the Giants, which looks like to be the last chance for a win, and then the Vikings again on the road to close out the season. But this has just been me rambling and a post-mortem, I guess. And, well, that's going to do it for this one. 3 games left, all meaningless, so, oh boy. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and this is going to be an interesting offseason. You're going to want to stay tuned. I'll see you guys next time.